and he whipped out this huge bag of Ket, and I had to grab it and put it in. And in my head, I was like, whoa. Hi, my name is Isra, and this is Still Addicted. So today's episode, I am going to be speaking to you about Forbidden Forest, a festival that I went to last weekend, hence why I didn't upload a video last weekend. So do apologize about that. But I was in a field and I was having the best time. Seriously, Forbidden Forest was just so much fun. Not really because of the festival. The festival itself was an all right festival. It's not the best one I've ever been to, but it was more about the people who I was with. Obviously, the music is a massive thing for me, and doing it, working it as well. So this time when I went to this festival, I wasn't just going to the festival as a punter, would you say? I was working it, and I was working it with a company called the Welfare Crew. And basically, I was in the welfare tent. So I worked 3 shifts, so 3 of the nights that I was there. And I worked in the welfare tent. And what I would do is basically help all these kids who have just got a bit too fucked up, just have a quiet space, level out so they can go back out and carry on partying in a good headspace and have a good time and enjoy themselves. And from being a person who once used to go to festivals, and I have been in welfare tents in my past life. I have been in many welfare tents in my past life. There was one time in Park Life where I was really coked up and I thought someone was starting on my little sister. And obviously, 4'11" me thinks I can fucking tackle anybody and everybody. And I had a scrap with this girl, ended up getting headbutted. My nose just went like woof, gushed everywhere. And I remember my little sister, bless her heart, who, by the way, none of this was going on. This was just all in my head about this girl being arsey with her. My little sister had to take me to the medic tent and then I went into the welfare tent for a bit. But I remember, this is how ridiculous I used to be. I was literally blood pouring down my nose, and I was on the bed, and I said to her, I said, "Can I was waiting, and there was nobody around, and I just said, give me the bag." And I remember my little sister going, "You're fucking like you're bleeding from your nose. You don't need drugs anymore." And I just didn't listen to her. So that is how my festivals used to go. But also, don't get me wrong, I've had so many amazing times at festivals, absolutely wired, absolutely carried out my head, the best times ever, and not always ended up in the welfare tent. But there's been a few times. Another time, I forgot what festival it was called. I went with a few people that I met from a festival when I went to Bulgaria, and I ended up going to another festival with them in the UK. Got so catted, and supposedly I was walking around. I lost everybody. Can't remember any of this, but somebody brought me into the welfare tent. I came around in the welfare tent, was like, where the fuck am I? And then went back out and probably did the same. So I've had the experience on the other side. Whereas this time around, I was helping people. And with my experience of obviously ketamine addiction, Ket is so rife at the moment. There were so many young guns coming in, ketting out the reds. And I ended up being the person that they'll be like, here's one for you. Just because I understood it, I knew what was going on. I knew that they were in a K-hole. I knew that they just had to just ride the wave, basically. And there wasn't really anything more that was going on with them. And just to sit with and speak with them and just chill with them and just help them get back feeling good. Do you know what I mean? So there was one point that I've never been so close to Ket as I was in the welfare tent, because there was one person, bless his heart, who I was sat with, and I think I was asking for something, and he was going in his bag, and he whipped out this huge bag of Ket, and I had to grab it and put it in. And in my head, I was like, whoa. But it was like, it was just the fact that I knew that was the first time since I got sober that I was holding Ket. So that was a bit like, whoa. But it wasn't, it was, yeah, it didn't, I don't know how to explain it, because it wasn't that it bothered me. It was just the realization that I'm holding my drug of choice. And obviously, I just put it back in his bag and I said, no, you don't want to bring that out here, because we're not there to take any drugs off people. We're not there to ruin anyone's fun. We're there to get them to a place where they are enjoying their time there. But I had many of those. But the actual team as well, before I went to Forbidden, I was so anxious, and because it's like I've not done a festival like that in for a year, and it was obviously I was going to be meeting new people and all of this stuff. So that whole fear was just all over me, that social anxiety, thinking I'm not going to know anybody. Well, I did know my best friend who I went with, but apart from James, I didn't know anybody else. And I knew there was no exit strategy. Do you know what I mean? So I was really, really nervous. And then I spoke to my best friend James, and he was really nervous as well and really anxious. And we just couldn't be asked, really. But we both hyped each other up. And I was just like, look, the weather's going to be fine. We're going to meet new people. The music's going to be on. We're going to have a good time. This is what life is about, pushing through that fear and not listening to those thoughts and just doing. And I'm so glad we didn't listen to our thoughts and we just pushed through that fear, because as soon as I got there, I met these two wonderful human beings, two ladies, I think in late 40s, and they were just absolutely nuts, proper down to earth, and it just felt safe straight away. And then I met somebody who I knew from recovery as well. So that again, it was straight away, I was like, ah, these are my people. And then I met some other people as well who are just unreal. Just, yeah, when you meet people that I just know have beautiful souls, we had just like this little team. So from day one, I felt safe and I felt settled. Obviously, pitched my tent up, and then went and had a gander, and then did my first shift. First shift, very overwhelming. Didn't have a clue what was going on. Second and third shift was absolutely fine. The third shift, I did a 12-8 in the morning, and then I couldn't really sleep on the way back. But I just went into weird Delulu land, and I had the funniest Sunday that I've had in a long time. And then Andy C headline that night, and it was so good. And I proper went back in time. My whole raving life started with drum and bass, and it was just a pure drum and bass weekend. There was house and techno playing, but I really just wanted to see the drum and bass DJs. So I'm going to put in some videos here of some Andy C videos. Videos, but also the main act for me that weekend was Hybrid Minds, and I got so emotional because, first of all, Liquid D&B is emotional anyway. It takes you on a fucking journey. It's absolutely beautiful. But Liquid D&B was me and my brothers. We never really got on when we were kids. Well, when we were young, we got on. Then we went through a period of just not getting on at all. And then he started introducing me to, because he could hear that I was listening to music and could see that I was getting into stuff. And he then, as my older brother would, introduce me to drum and bass, and it was Liquid D&B. And it was our first time that we bonded over something. And Hybrid Minds was one of the two DJs that he introduced me to. and we're both sober, and I was just having this moment when in the crowd, and I was like, oh my god, I am sober, I am in the fucking forest, I'm raving to these incredible tunes, and I'm just so grateful, so unbelievably grateful for my life, for the 12-step program, for just recovery in general, because I knew that I've got my brother back, because obviously he's on his journey, and it's just like, it was really magical. I'm going to put some more clips in of Hybrid Minds. Here's a little journey, because it was unreal. But being around the drugs and the alcohol and all of that stuff, it just did not bother me. And it's purely because of the people that I was with, the environment that I was in, and it was just good times from start to finish. And I've come away with friends and people that are really, like, I feel like quite close to already. I'm excited to see them. I've made plans with a few of them. And then we're also all going to another festival with the same welfare crew in a couple of weeks. So I just feel like this is what I'm meant to do every summer. I'm meant to help others and also rave at the same time. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that is my calling. So I'm very happy. I'm going to sort out this fucking hair of mine, because I'm going to my friend's wedding party, which I'm very excited for, to see all of them lot. And I'm just going to leave it there. But I hope you've enjoyed. It's just a bit of a recap of my last weekend. But I just basically wanted to do this to show that you don't need drugs or alcohol to go to festivals. It's about being in the right frame of mind with the right people in the right environment. And obviously, if you're in early recovery, please don't go to a festival straight away. Please do some work on yourselves. But this life is out there for you. You don't need to lose it. I promise you now, you do not need to lose going out and going to festivals and all of that stuff just because you got sober. It's just not in my books anyway. So I'll leave it there. Thank you so much. This is Still Addicted, and my name is Isra.